And when it comes to the skeletal system, we have to remember that there's many different organs that are working together to make up that system. So we're going to talk about the cartilage first that is involved in the skeletal system. And we learned in chapter 4, when we were learning about tissues, we learned about these 3 types of cartilage. So one thing about cartilage is they make, or they have very little blood supply or nerves, so they don't heal as well. But there is a reason for that, because they are going to be compressed, moved, etc., so that you won't bleed out. The 3 types are hyaline, elastic, and fibrocartilage, which you guys already know. And they're mostly made up of water. And you might want to star this. It makes it very resilient, meaning that it can bend and kind of snap back into place. But it is because it's made mostly up of water. And remember that all connective tissue, which cartilage is a connective tissue, it has that matrix. And so that matrix, part of the matrix, is made up of water. Hyaline cartilage is the most abundant skeletal cartilage. There are all kinds of different places you will find hyaline cartilage. One is where one bone articulates with another bone, and so it's called articular cartilage, which is going to be found at the end of long bones. Costal cartilage, respiratory, and then nasal, which is the end or tip of your nose. Elastic cartilage, we learned before, is very similar to hyaline cartilage, but it contains those elastic fibers as part of its matrix, which allows it to bend, and it's found in the ear and the epiglottis. And then fibrocartilage is the one that is going to be the strongest. It is able to be compressed, and so it contains a lot of collagen fibers. If you remember, those are the strongest types of fibers. And you find it in the meniscus of the knee and the intervertebral discs. So this picture is just showing you where you will find the different types of cartilage, and they're color-coded for you so you can see that it's hyaline, elastic, or fibrocartilage. Now when it comes to the bones of the skeletal system, they are classified in 2 different ways. The first way is called the axial portion of the skeleton, and that is going to be the bones of the skull, the vertebral column, and the rib cage. So there's lots of bones that make up those parts. And then there's a part called the appendicular skeleton, and that is going to be all of the rest of the skeleton, the appendices, your appendices. So you're going to have your arms, your legs, your hips, and shoulder. Then they also classify the bones within those 2 different categories by shape. And so we have long bones, which are longer than wide. And a good example of that is the humerus, which is your arm bone. You also have short bones, and short bones are cube-shaped. And so these cube-shaped bones are going to be found in the wrist and the ankle. And then you also have these things called sesamoid bones. And sesamoid bones are interesting because they are bones that form within a tendon. So, for instance, your patella, which is your kneecap, is actually a sesamoid bone, and it is going to grow inside something called the patellar tendon. And then you have flat bones, and flat bones are flattened and curved. And so you have your sternum, which you can see where the sternum lies in this picture. And you can also just, picture your skull bones. They're flat and they are curved. You also have a category where all of the other bones fit or lie because they don't really have a specific shape. So they're called irregular bones. And so they're any bone with a complicated irregular shape. And you find these, or examples of these, are the vertebra, and you can see that it's an irregular bone. It kind of has a funky shape to it, and your hip bones.